Alright, we are live. At least we should be. I certainly hope so. After all the effort I had to do to get today running. Gotta love it when your router goes all on you, right when you're getting ready to do a stream. Anyway, welcome to the next episode of the Dev stream. Pop that on Twitter, let everybody know, hey, we're live and running, only half an hour late. Go us. Woohoo! Alright. Now, let's pop over here. So, welcome everybody. Today, hopefully, will be much more, I suppose could say, productive than last week. Bug fixes are productive, but bug cascading cluster messes are not as productive as I would have liked. So today we're pretty much going to pick up right where we left off. It was a very busy week for me in life, and so I didn't have a whole lot of time to put towards the game, unfortunately. I was hoping to already have this user interface thing that we were working on last week done, but of course, hey, when you're an indie dev, life tends to throw things at you. It always seems to work out that way. But that's okay. I'm going to fire this up and I'll show you where we're at so far, and also give myself a refresher as to where we're at so far. So let's see. Pop open the level editor. We got our nice little level editor toolbar, which is our cool new feature right down here. And we can pop open. We got key cards. I was able to put those in. Switches should be in there, but it doesn't look like they are. Well, it looks like they are, but it's displaying the wrong sprite, so I can fix that real quick. That's easy fix. Guns are there, but they're offset. Yeah. So both the switches and the key cards and the guns need to be recentered image-wise. The ammo looks nice. And then I'm working on putting in the all of the different environmental objects. So, that's cool. That's coming together quite nicely. Windows, flooring. I don't think I've done anything with flooring yet. I'm not even sure that's functional. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's functional. I fixed the bug that we saw right at the end of the last stream, where we could select non-existent colors and it would glitch out the game, so, that's good. So let's see. So I got that going. And this is nowhere near the total number of environmental objects that are in the game. And that's why we're going to work on improving the functionality of this particular pop-up today. Basically, my plan is to have this particular pop-up expand upward for how to fit as many environmental objects as I have. So, for example, right now we only have one row. What it should be doing, or at least it will be doing, once we program that in there, is have this menu pop up another row to show the next row, and if there's more than that, a third row, and if there's more than that, a fourth row, and so on and so forth. I don't think there's actually 4 rows worth of stuff. Other than, we're also going to have separate rows for various sized objects. So these are all, essentially one grid sized objects, but there's also 2x2 objects and 3x3 objects that are larger than what would be able to be displayed right here. So we're gonna have that pop up, and it'll also have a separate row for different sized objects too, and I think that's gonna add a lot of functionality to the level editor and make it, just that much easier to work with. Another functional thing I want to do is I want to have it so that for example, if I'm over here and I'm clicking on something and I want to switch to something else, I just click over and switch to it. I also want to have it so that if I am looking at a submenu, if I click on that again, it'll collapse the submenu. Well, maybe do I want that? I don't know if I want that or not. I don't know if that needs to be a functionality or not. I don't think it should, because it might get confusing. Because then if I select this, and then I collapse the sub menu, and then try and click out here, and it doesn't work, then, you know, that's going to be very confusing. Oh, one good thing is I know that we already fixed the streaming issue earlier last week, where I was, you know, accidentally stopping the stream randomly throughout the thing by pressing the stop stream hotkey. So let's just make sure. I'm gonna pop over to our stream real quick and load it up, and I want to make sure that we can see the game area, because that was another issue. So let's let it load. Listen to ourselves for a second. Hi, Chris. Good to see you again. It's loading. Let's see if it even pops up. Oh, let's see. I'll say hi, Chris. Hello. Welcome back. That'll be kind of interesting. It's almost like a ping test. You know, how long before Chris sees that me typing that message out on the stream compared to when you see it pop up on the chat window. So it's loading. Oh, it's loading. I hope that we can see the game field. I'll say hi, Chris. Hello. I can see something. Welcome. Oh, I think I see the game field. Yeah, I see the game field. That's this big blocked out area. That'll be kind of interesting. It's almost like a ping test. You know, yeah, there we go. How long? So if I pop this up and I'm like, Chris sees that me typing that message out on the stream, I feel like I'm in kind of like a pop-up on Twilight Zone, where I'm looking back in time. So it's loading. It's loading. I hope that we can see the game field. I'll say hi, Chris. Pop-up game field, please. Hello. I can see something. Welcome. Oh, I think I see the game field. Yeah. It's gonna get really meta here real soon. Aha! There we go. Okay. It's almost like a ping test. Yeah, there we go. How long? So if I pop this up, and I'm like, okay. That. Pause. No more. We are done. It's like a 15-second delay. Oh, that's funny. All right. So we know that's working. We can move on from here. All right. So let's close out the game and let's get right into the code. Bury our heads in variables. All right. Oh, span that out. So, I know the first thing that we need to do is work on recentering our little displays. The keys are not being drawn correctly because they kind of have a little bit of an XY offset. So let's go ahead and add in our XY offset. There we go. So that'll center those nicely. That's for key. Wow, I labeled all of these keys. Man, I must have been lazy that day. As if I'm not lazy every day. Okay, so there's a key. All right, which one's this one? This was it switch? Yeah, which one's the switch? Switch one. Okay, so it goes door, key, switch is number 3. So this is switch. We need to change it to the switch. Off. Did I call it switch off? I think I called it switch off. Right? Let's see. Switch off. Switch off S. There it is. Okay. Thank goodness for autocomplete. Switch off S. And we're gonna need to, let's see. No, we don't need an offset for the switches, but we do need an offset for the guns. The guns need to be plus 16 on each axis so that they're centered properly. Okay. There we go. Now our objects look good, and that's all fine and good. But you know, we're gonna have to redo some of the code here because it's not quite how we want it done. So we're going to make this, instead of a for loop, which is what will lock it in as just that one row, we're going to make it a while. And we're going to have it be, this is where our dynamic menu is going to come into play. So we're going to set, and actually I kind of had a thing going there. I started on it, but I didn't have enough time to complete it. So we're going to set a variable we're going to call the draw num. And the draw num is the current number of combined images that we're going to be drawing. So draw num is going to count upwards as we cycle through all of the images, and as the draw num number goes larger than the number of images in a particular sprite, then it will switch over to the next sprite and continue drawing from there and draw on. And so we'll have this nice effect with that in theory. So while draw num, and we're going to have to figure out exactly what the total number of drawn images is, and yeah, we'll do it. Well, yeah, let's do we want to do it right there? Because that might, just for a slight efficiency thing, we're going to pre-calculate that. We're going to call it a draw total, and we're going to make draw total the sprite get number for all of the various environmental object sprites. So we're going to do it sprite get number enviro 1x1s plus, so that's the total number of sprites in that sprite set. Let's see, 1x1 solid s. And the difference between those two from a technical standpoint, and why I separated them out, is that the 1x1s by default has no collisions. You can always give something collision, so if you have a blood stain on the floor that you don't want the player to step in, you can, you can give the blood stain a collision, but most blood stains don't have a collision box. So by default, everything in the Enviro 1x1s sprite, every image, it has no collision by default. And the Enviro 1x1 solid s, therefore, has collision. So that's like your boxes and stuff like that has collision enabled by default. And that's the easiest way that I could think of to do that, is to just separate out the sprites. And then again, it's also easily dynamic. Every sprite that I add, as I get more art and more stuff, I put it into whichever sprite. I just add those images to the sprite, and the system automatically includes them in all the rest of the functionality that makes the game work. So let's see, Enviro 2x2s, solid s, and you'll notice that there are no Enviro 2x2 non-solids and no Enviro, and actually it says 4x4, but it actually should be 3x3, because it's not quite that big. Yeah, I don't think 128. Well, no, it is a 4x4. Wow, I didn't realize it was that big. Whew. Okay, cool. Anyway, sprite get number 4x4. The larger environmental objects, like the 4x4s and, or I should say the 2x2s. There's no 2x2 graphics that I have yet. Oops, Enviro. There we go. That are not solid by default. So we don't have an Enviro 2x2s. But we do have an Enviro for, I keep calling this right, Environ, for environment instead of Enviro. Interesting. Because I had the exact same problem, the opposite problem when I was trying to do it the first time, is I kept trying to write Enviro instead of Environ. Whatever. Anyway, so there we go. We've got all of our sprite names in there, and we've got all of our totals in there. So now we have a draw total, which equals all of the combined sprite images. So as long as draw num is less than draw total, and it should be, and it is less, not less than, equals to, because we're starting at 0 and not at 1. You know, and watch out for those tricky off by 1 errors. But so as long as draw num is less than the draw total, we're good. And we're going to continue to draw out all of our stuff. Now, I already did the calculation and stuff to find out that it is 20, was it 25? Yeah, there's 20, or was it 23? Well, shoot, now I can't remember. I'm going to toss open my calculator again. Boop. Alright, so, let's see. 25, let's see, the width of the screen is 800, so we divide that by 32, and we get 25. It is 25, okay. So 25 is the total number of images that we can display at one time. So that's as large as our row can be. So once our draw num is larger than 25, we need to draw another row and continue on from there, one vertical space above it. So we're going to go ahead and start putting that in there. So if draw num is less than 25, then we're going to, let's see, that's when we're going to have to draw our additional rectangles here. So if draw num is less than 25, and I'm just kind of ignoring this extra stuff down here because this is left over from copying from above, and we're gonna have to tweak it a little bit, I'm sure. But when draw num is less than 25, then we're going to draw set color C black, and we're going to draw a rectangle. Rectangle. I can spell good. I can do it. Promise. Alright, and we're going to draw it. Let's see. This first one is going to be drawn in the same place that the rest of them are, which is actually right here. This right here. So let's just cut that out because no sense in drawing it twice. So let's cut that, paste it, and that's going to be our first draw num thing here. And let's see, we're gonna end up drawing that rectangle every single step, which is also an efficiency problem. Not a huge one, but you know, if you can nick efficiency problems in the bud right as you see them, you might as well, right? That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this up here. And instead of putting it in the while loop, we are just going to put it outside of the while loop. We'll use the while loop for drawing the actual little icons, but we're going to just use some regular ifs to draw out the rectangles. And actually, I'm thinking what we're gonna do is make it a switch statement, because I love switches. Switches are so great. They're just great. At least they're great for when you have a lot of ifs that you're gonna be going through. So we're gonna make a case here. Case for the switch is draw total, and we want to make it if draw total is less than 0. You know, I don't know if we can do less thans with the case. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think case is just specific numbers. Yeah. So we can't use a switch here. We have to do an if. Alright. I take that back. So we're going to do if draw total is less than 25. Actually, not ifs. Let's make this more dynamic. More dynamic. We wanted more dynamic. You always got to be careful about adding too much dynamic in there, because then you can just end up overbuilding your code for cases that will never be. But in this case, the dynamic is going to help us out a lot, I think. So I'm going to make it a 4, and we're going to do our, let's see, let's draw rect. For draw rectangle, which will equal 0. Draw rect is, let's see. Draw rect is less than draw total divided by 25. Okay. Draw rect. And let's make. We should probably make this a floor, huh? Yeah, if we do it as a floor, then that way we won't have some weird stuff going on. So let's see. Let me just run this through in my head. If there are 100 images total, then we'll have 4 rows. If there are 99 images total, then we will have, let's see, 99, then we'll have 3 rows, which would be correct. No, that would be wrong. So instead of floor, we're going to do ceiling. There we go. So we're going to top it off. So if we have 99, we're still going to have 4 rows, because we need 4 rows. So there we go. Yeah, that'll work. So draw rect then is +1. We can just do plus. Yeah. Draw rect ++. Okay, so draw, set color seek black. Draw a rectangle. Now let's see. This is where we have some funness. This is let's see. Y minus 40. So if we do this, y minus 4 minus draw rect times 40. And then y minus 40 minus draw rect times 40, because we have a 40. Our sizes of our rectangles are 40 tall, so if we multiply it by 40, then we can draw it in its correct location and feed that location off of the draw rect that we are generating in our for loop. So now let's see. Probably not going to like the way that works, so we're going to have to change this a bit. Yeah, okay, so we're going to change this bit. First off, draw num, while draw num is less than draw total. At the end of that, we definitely need to add 1 to draw num. And that way we don't lock ourselves up in an infinite loop. And we're going to draw sub icons. If draw sub icon, which is left over. So if this should not be draw sub icon, this should be draw num. Right? Yeah. So if draw num is less than sprite get number, the first sprite, -1, because we're starting at 0 and not 1, then we're going to draw envir 1 1 1, and we're going to do it as draw num. Yep. X plus draw num times 40, y minus 36. Yeah, the y is going to get a little tricky, but so let's go ahead and add that in here. So y minus 36 minus draw num. Oh, how are we going to want to draw that? So So if our draw num is larger than 25, then actually minus 36. Yeah, we do want it to be minus 36. We also want the start of it to be at 40, so we want it to be math in my head. Alright, draw num divided by 25. Are we gonna floor that? I think we're gonna floor that one because we want it to be the minimal. So minus floor draw num divided by, and actually we're gonna make that in the parentheses as well. Draw floor num divided by 25 times 40. So that's gonna give us our base in theory, and we're y location. We're gonna just stack it on top of there. And let's see. Else if draw sub icon, not that again, that's the wrong leftover variable. So draw, this needs to be draw num. Yep, if draw num, let's see, is less than sprite get number. And I think this is where stuff is going to get a little tricky. Well, not tricky, it's just going to get a little long in the tooth, because we have to make sure that it is that plus that. So plus those two sprite numbers. Let's see, minus 1. Yeah. So as long as it's less than that, then we're going to draw the sprite. Solid. I'm pretty sure we can just copy this over. And by pretty sure, I mean not entirely positive, but relatively certain. Minus sprite get number enviro, and we could very well be facing an off by 1 or error here, because I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. R1X, 1 S. So if we subtract the total number. Alright, so let's run through an example in my head, and I'm just going to talk out loud here. So draw num starts at 0. If there are 10 images in the sprite, let's say there's 10 in the first environment, then we're at 9, right? And as soon as it clicks over to 10, then we're moving into the next sprite, which means that we need to subtract. If we're in 10, we need to subtract draw num. Yeah, okay, so it is. That is correct. So sprite get num enviro1x1s, not subtracted by 1. All right, so. Oh, gotta love it. All right, draw num minus that. X plus draw num times 40 floor draw num plus equals 1. Well, you know, in theory, that is going to draw correctly. So, when in doubt, test it out. Oh god, I hope that doesn't become my tagline. That's a terrible tagline. Don't use that as a tagline, people. Please. That's horribly cheesy. Sounds like something they would post in like a 5th grade elementary school classroom. Alright, so let's pop this open. Okay, so we've got some. Well, we have it drawing our rows, kind of. There's an extra gap here, a little bit larger gap than I want. But it's not drawing it in the Y properly at all. Okay, You know, that's cool. That's cool. You know, just means we're doing it wrong. That's all. So why is it not drawing it right? Well, let's see. It's not drawing it right because it is not doing the... let's see. It's not... first off, it's starting off wrong here. And it looks suspiciously like an off by one error, because anytime that you're telling it to draw a subimage of negative, it just cycles through all of the subimages. So this means that this number is off. So if our draw num is 0 and there are 10 images in there, it'll go all the way to 9. So, and I think this is where our problem is lying here. If draw num sprite get number -1. So if draw num is less than, that's why. It's not less than equal to, it's less than. That's why. Well, that's why in theory, anyway. Now, as for this, you should be drawing more. You should be drawing times 40. So you should be drawing upwards. And yet you're not. And let's see if we can figure out why not. So draw num divided by 25 times 40, right? Yeah. Okay. So if the number is larger than 25, so if it's like 50, yeah, let's say it's 50. 50 is, well, actually, even just 26. 26 would be 1 times 40. So it would be, should be, in theory, subtracting an additional 40, but it's not. At least it doesn't appear to be. Huh. Oh yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Very interesting. Draw num divided by 25 times 40. If draw num is 30, then floor of draw num 25 is 1. 1 times 40 is you know, correct. So it should be subtracting another 40 out of it, but it's not. Okay, why not? What's wrong with this thing? Let's fire it up and see if we can find out what's wrong with this thing. Okay. Dun, dun, close that. Alright. Environmental objects. Well, you know, we got our little... that bug fixed. Our off by one error there. That's good. But it's not drawing vertically. At all. Or maybe it is drawing vertically. I'm just screwed up somehow. Oh, maybe it's drawing way the heck off here. Ah! Vertically, it is drawing correctly. Horizontally, it is not. That's the problem. Because I just have it doing it as x draw num times 40, which is not very good when draw num is larger than 25, because then it's actually drawing them on the x-axis off the screen. That should be a relatively easy fix. We're just going to do the exact same thing that we did before. We're going to do... we can't do a floor, can we? Draw num times 40. Draw num times 40. Well, let's see. Draw num minus... How are we going to do that? Why is the math not coming to my head? It should be like, blah, this is the algorithm that you need to input to make it work. But the math is just like stuck in my head here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to have dronum minus dronum divided by 25. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, now I got it. Dronum times 25. Alright, so we're gonna do floor dronum 25 times 25. And what that's gonna do is it's going to take the dronum and see. Now why am I doing it? Why am I doing it like that? Floor dronum times. I could just do mod. Or not mod. Div, right? I think so. Pretty sure. Well, let's try it. Why not? Let's give it a shot. Draw num div 25 times 25. I guess either way it works. It's not like any particular way is correct. Both have the exact same outcome, but now I'm curious to see if that works. Because, yeah, you got div and mod. Mod would give us the remainder, which we don't want, but div gives us the number of times it's divided into a number. It can be divided with no remainder. So, in theory, that should work, because that would be, what, 25? 25 times, yep. Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Coffee. Okay. Boop. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Look at that. It, like, condensed everything down into one little tiny, like, chunk there. So, yeah. Let's see. Chris says, what's div? Div... And actually, let me see if I can just pop open the little thingy here, because maybe it could have a better explanation than what I am explaining it as. Div and mod are both two, what's the word I'm talking about? Math, I guess you say math functions, where div, or division, it gives you the amount of value can be divided into whole numbers with no remainder, while mod gives you only the remainder of a division. So, oh, never mind. Okay, so you caught up with me. That's right, 15-second delay. Yes, things are not exactly in real time. Yeah. Alright, let's shrink that down, get that out of the way. I don't want to see that. Alright, let's see. So if we go into here, it's not going to be quite correct because, let's see, draw num. So that would be like, what, 25? So if it's 0, oh, draw num minus 0 times 40. 0 times 40 is, 0, so that's correct. Oh. That's why. Order of operations, my friends. Order of operations. Alright. So, draw num. Let's see, we want to draw num that, and then times that by 40. Because what it was doing was it was, doing 40 times all of this first, and then subtracting, because order of operations. I still didn't see a drawing on the vertical axis, though. Now that I think about it. And it should have been drawing some of them on the next row up if it was drawing it properly, which it didn't seem to be doing. Oh, hey, oh, haha, look at that! I take that back. I take that back. Okay, so let's see. Is that all of them? It kinda looks like it's not. I think we're missing a couple. I know we're at least missing the desk chair. So, and I bet I know why. And I think it's because while we can draw 25 of them, this probably should actually be 24. Maybe. 'Cause once again, off by one. I wonder if it's drawing off screen at all. So 5 times 40. Let's try it. Let's see if that does it. Let's change these to 24 and see what happens. Might be looking at an off by one error right there. Don't know for sure though. Sometimes it's easier to just play with numbers than to try and work through the calculations in your head. Or on a piece of paper. Just be like, well, you know, if it looks like it's off by one, then change it by one and see what happens. Trial and error. That's looking a little better. We're at least getting one of the yeah, see? There's one of the images. But it looks like we're still off by one. Because the chair is missing. And if we're missing... Okay, so let's see. Let's cycle through all of the images and see what we got. Okay. Alright. So this is the last box that's being shown. Right? Yeah. So if we were to cycle forward to that last box, which looks like this. Okay, this is the last box that's being shown. Right? So we're missing 1, 2. We are missing... Actually, looks like we're missing 3. We're missing 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We're missing a good 3 objects. Yeah. Unless, no, maybe 4. Because I don't think that's that. That's a whole bunch of blocks. This one's got like a gap in it. Alright. Yeah. So we're missing 4. We are missing 4 images that should be there. Okay. Well, that's good to know. That helps us narrow down what is wrong. Right. Ooh, here's an idea. Just a thought. Let's fire it up real quick, and let's see what that first image is. In other words, what's the first box? The first box looks like this. It's that. Is that the first box? That is the first box. Okay, the next box is kind of like a little triangular. Yep. Okay, so we're starting at the right sprite number, or image number, sub-image number, so that's good. Yeah, that narrows that bit down. Now let's see what else we have to figure out. Alright, so draw num is all this. draw num div 24, 24 that's 40, 24, all that good stuff. We're subtracting out that. And it looks like we're still... we're off by 2. We're actually off by 4, but 2 across both. Both rows. So, if let's see, how are we off by 2? Oh, this number's not wrong. This number is correct. It's the other number that's wrong. Okay. Let's replace those 24s back with 25s, because that's not where the off by 1 or off by however many it is actually wrong. What's wrong is our draw num is well, no, maybe that isn't it. Our draw num there is, yeah, that's the right thing. Draw num, we're drawing like 25 of them. So we do draw num is whatever number we're on. So if we're at 25, it should actually be 24. Because 24 is the largest on the x-axis, that it should be working here. So 24 minus, yeah, let's put our 24s back, because I think now that I'm looking at it, that is actually correct. 24s. 24s. So if draw num is 24, that's the last image that we can display on a row. So draw num minus draw num div 24 is 1. 1 times 24 is 24, so that's 0. That's going to put it at 0, which brings it back to the very beginning on the left side. And this needs to be draw num. Let's change that. Let's make that div. Let's make that a div as well. Draw num div 24 times 40. Yeep, yeep, yeep. Right? Yeah. And you know, let's see what that does. Because I think that's where our stuff might have been flawed, maybe. Nope. Same issue. We're still off by, what, 4 of them? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 additional images that are not being drawn. At least not at this height. Or not at the correct height, or the correct x. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's like 8 here, so it's not like it's doing that. Huh. This is interesting. Ah, math. So our draw num is sprite get number var 1 to 1 x. Yeah. X plus draw num minus, so if we're at like 24, right, then 24 minus 24 is 0, which puts it all the way back to the left. If it's 23, there's 23 minus 0, which is still 23 times 40, so that's good. On the x-axis here, we have got, on the y-axis, draw div 24 times 40. I don't think the y is the problem. I think the x is the problem, because stuff is getting drawn off the screen to the right. And if it's drawing it off the screen to the right, then that means that our x calculation here is incorrect. If it's drawing it at all. But it should be. Because it's not like it's skipping numbers. The numbers aren't at the end or at the beginning. They're in the middle. So it shouldn't be skipping anything. Oh, let's see. That is an interesting dilemma. You know what? Let's do this. And you know why? Because by doing that, I'm going to condense on the x-axis, condense them down, and see if it's actually drawing those images and they're just getting pushed off screen, or if it's just skipping those images altogether and moving on. Nope, there they are. Look at that. There they are. They are tacked on to the end, like they should be. Now, see, that's interesting. Is my count off? Is my math wrong? It shouldn't be. It is wrong! Oh my gosh. I am a silly, silly person doing silly, silly things. You see, my calculation for the total number of visible objects on the horizontal axis is based on 32, which is the width of an image. Not the width of the buffer that I'm doing, which is 40. These are spaced at 40 apart. They're not 32, which reduces the number of images that I can show on a screen at a time. So if I was to take and divide 800 by 40, I get 20 images, not 25. That's why we're losing images, is because it's going by 25 when it should be going by 20. Oh my gosh. I can't believe, whoops, lost my Twitch. There it is. Alright, I cannot believe that I didn't, you know, just gonna roll with it. Just gonna roll with it. Didn't even think about that. Did not even cross my mind that that was gonna be the problem. So this should actually be 20. Buff that back up to 40, but these are all should be 20. Oh, not 250. That's a little off, but it needs to be 20. 20, 20, 20. Draw number 20. Because 20 is the number of images that we could show on a row at a particular time, not 25. 20. Alright, let's try it again. That's what's pushing stuff off the screen. My math wasn't wrong. My base for numbers was. Hey, look at that! It works. It works perfect. It pushed them all out just the way it is supposed to do. That's interesting. Look at the little gap there. Why? That's an odd. Oh, I know why. That's not actually a gap. It just looks weird because of the way that is off-center. And it's probably the same for this because this is off-center. So it looks a little weird. It's correct. It just looks weird. Yeah. Fantissimo. Fantissimo. Alright. So we got a little bit of a gap there, if you will, on that y. And so I think that is y, is because it starts out on the -4. And that's going to cause that gap. So we'll get rid of that little -4, and that should close up that gap. All the rest of that is just looking glorious. It looks beautiful. It's exactly what we want it to be. So let's go ahead and fill in the rest of it, shall we? Let's see. Actually, maybe you might want to do that a little differently.
Loss of capability, no loss of true functionality whatsoever.
Now I'm thinking about the selection part of it, because we do have to. Our selection X is great, but the Y is where things are a little more complicated. This needs to be well, first off, we need to move it. We need to move it till after we draw the black, because otherwise it won't draw at all. So we draw the black and draw green on top of it. Let's see. Hold mouse X is less than 25. Well, yes. Hold mouse X. That should actually be 20, not 25, mind you, as we have since discovered. Alright, so if hold X is 20, 40, yep. So now the Y is where it gets a little more tricky, because now we actually have to know where the Y is. Hold mouse Y equals floor, window, mouse, get Y divided by 40. So that's going to tell us where the Y axis, or where the Y is. Oh, except we actually need to subtract a little bit from this. Let's see, how many times does 40 go into 600? I don't know. 600 divided by 40 is 15. So if we do 15 minus that, then that will give us the correct vertical Y position, because we're starting at the bottom, so we need to do all the way at the bottom minus however many rows we can do. So well, at least we know that we have a maximum number of 15 rows that we can draw. So there we go. There's our hold mouse Y. Let's see. So for hold mouse X is less than 20, if hold mouse X is less than 20 and hold mouse Y is what is it, greater than, if we're starting at 15, we've got, how many rows do we have? I don't know, however many rows. 15 minus, oh, we haven't calculated draw. Oh yeah, we have calculated draw total. Okay, so we can draw off of that. So draw total, draw total divided or div 20 is going to give us let's see if it is greater than 15 minus draw total. Actually, that's probably should be 14 because that bottom row already is selected. So 14. Yeah. Alright, so, and let's see. Actually, I'm going to do the same for that because the bottom row is already accounted for. So, draw a total, minus, let's see, 14 minus the total number of rows that we have displayed. Draw a rectangle, well, that's 40. X minus hold mouse Y times 40 X minus hold mouse Y times 40 oops times 40 minus an additional 40 so that it draws it in the correct place. And that should possibly, maybe, theoretically draw the green rectangle where the green rectangle is supposed to be drawn. Possibly, maybe in theory. Alright. Oh, look at that. It's not drawing crap. It's just straight up not drawing crap. And actually, it looks like that's kind of encroaching a little bit there. Interestingly. Okay. Well, figure that out. Alright, so where is it? Okay, so we're drawing our x-axis as that minus 4 is correct, but 14 minus okay, so I'm thinking that that is where my little flaw lies, in that I think my whole mouse Y number is wrong. Let's see, if it's divided by 14, so it's gonna be 4. It's gonna start off at 14. Whole mouse, great, and then 14 minus draw total divided by 20. If the draw total is all of that, which is like 3. 14 minus 3. Let's see. Well, let's see. Let's see what the editor bar dot hold mouse Y actually is. Maybe my numbers are just wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Certainly won't be the last. Oh man, dealing with UI elements is such a pain. Alright, so let's get in there. Cancel. Into the level editor. Okay. Editor bar. Editor bar dot hold mouse X. Mouse X. Hold mouse Y. Okay, so you're drawing it in the right place. 1, 2, and we're starting to see that little gap there again. Interestingly. Yeah. And I know why, because I subtracted the 4 out, but the 4 is what's drawing there, so why? Huh. Well, I'll figure that out in a little while. But right now I'm looking at my home mouse Y, and home mouse Y is like 1 when it's over down here. So that's good. Okay. So that begs the question, what's going on? Oh! Yep, that's it. That's it. That's exactly what it was. That 14 minus is what was messing me up there. Cause yeah, it was reversing the Y's, so instead of it being 14 and being greater than, 12 or whatever it's supposed to be, it was being brought down to like 2, and so 2 is definitely not greater than 12, so that's why this wasn't being drawn. Alright, so that's that. Now, let's see. Try and figure this out. Alright, so if we get rid of the 4 there, that's gonna, sync all of that up quite nicely. And I think I know why, because the Y minus 40. Let's just make it nice and easy, shall we? Alright. Let's get rid of all of these little draw rectangle minus 4s, so that that's so that they draw in the proper locations. All selection 40. Yep, all that's good. Alright, so let's get rid of that. All these little minus 4s for all of these rectangles. Y minus 36. If I move it 4 up, then it needs to be Y minus 32, right? Draw a sprite. Well, let's see. Not Y minus 32. Because Y is H view minus 40. Oh, that's for the draw sub, right? Yeah. Let's keep it at 36 and let's see what happens. Alright, we'll fix it as we go. So there's our Y's, and we're adjusting that Y, and we're adjusting that Y. We're getting rid of our little Y minus 4s. And that's all our just regular generic draw base icons. So that's correct. Okay. Now let's take a peek and see what happens. Alright, thanks for hanging out, Chris. Appreciate it. Always good to have a viewer. Have a good one. Hope to see you next week. And maybe we'll be more interesting instead of just sitting here looking at numbers. So close. Look at that. We have our green blocks, but it's up at the top instead of down at the bottom where it should be. And also all of these are now off by, you know, off by 4. These are base icons, right? Yeah. Base icons. +4. +4. +20. +20. And, you know, I'm looking at all this, trying to get all these numbers right, and I'm thinking there's gotta be a better way to do this. Like, just, oops, y +4. There's gotta be, because this seems really tedious, and I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I mean, maybe I'm not. Maybe this is just what everybody has to deal with, but for me, it feels like I'm doing it wrong. You know? And I don't even know. I don't even know. But, let's fire this up and see what happens. I already know that my green block is in the wrong location, but that's relatively easy fix. Okay, we've recentered the bottom, so that looks good. That looks centered, so that looks... actually, that might not be centered. Now that I'm looking at it, it might be off by 4 on the vertical. Yeah, it's difficult to tell. Now that's just way wrong, because that's drawing it way up there and it shouldn't be, so let's, you know, change the way we're drawing our little selection box here, because why? -14. Yeah. There we go. That's where we have a problem, and that's where we have a fix. Alright, let's see. So that's drawing it in the correct locations. Let's see when I have a nice expanded view. What we end up with here. It's drawing it in the wrong location. Again. Not too happy about that. But the rest of it looks pretty decent. Let's see. Draw background part. Wrong thing. Alright, so where is our green box? Our green box is drawing, but it's drawing it in the incorrect location. Alright, so how can we get the green box to draw in the correct location? That's a good question. Let's move this back around to this. Change that back. And let's see. So if y minus... Yeah, well first we need to subtract an additional 40 off of that. Because we're off by 1. Yeah, I don't really want to do it that way though. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do hold y minus 1. minus or is it plus 1? I think it's plus 1. Yeah, 1y plus 1. Alright, so that would be... Yep. Yep, that would be correct. In theory. Huh? You know what? Won't know theories until we test them, right? That's right. Pop this open. That's interesting. Okay, let's tweak more numbers. Okay. My numberator is getting tired. Tired of dealing with all of these numbers. Alright, so get rid of that plus 1, because that's messing us up. It has to be greater than draw total. Let's see, what's 14 minus a draw total? Nope, that's not gonna work. Definitely draw total. Draw total, it has to be less than. That's why. I was looking at it. I had the wrong comparison. Wrong comparator. Alright, pop open the level editor. That's close. I mean, it's, you know, it's really close. We're only off on the vertical axis by 1 now. Okay, okay, okay. We can work with that. We can work with that. Yeah, we can do that. We got this. All right. So if it's hold mouse Y minus 1. Probably. Yep. Is less than or equal to. Once again, wrong comparator, but that should sync it up vertically as well as let us go into the non-existent top row. Now, you know, I'm looking at this and yay, it works, but I'm not entirely convinced that that I like it. I mean, I like it, but how am I gonna do this? The additional functionality that I wanted to add, where it, you know, changes its size dynamically based on which sprite it's drawing, is kind of it's gonna eat up a lot of extra space. Like, a lot of extra space. It's gonna waste so much space if I do it that way. But what if I do it like... I'm trying to decide functionality-wise which way I want to do it. Like, those are all nice little 32 by 32s. I want them to be bigger. I want them to display as bigger. Alright, let's see here. Because otherwise it's just going to be confusing. So, that's going to be a whole nother can of worms I'm going to be opening up with that one. Woohoo! Oh, man. Good times. Good times. So, first, let's finish getting this working correctly. Draw total, div 20, less than or equal to, actually be hold y minus 1 is less than or equal to, so that'll let us get into that top row there. Try to think of a good way to do this. Well, actually, that'd be a pretty cool way. Yeah. Okay. Let's try that. Let's try it. Okay. Plus sprite get number in enviro 2x2 solid s. Okay. Now we're going to do 2x2 solid s. And this is where we're going to add in our double-sized stuff. Drawing and actually this one we're going to need an extra buffer because we're gonna buff draw num up a little bit. We're also going to have to buff the draw total up a little bit to compensate. So if for the draw num, if we think of it the draw num as one space inside of our toolbar that fits a one space icon, then the 2x2s will take up obviously 2 spaces, horizontal anyway. Vertically, I'm not even. I'll get to vertically eventually. Later on, but for right now I'm just I only care about the horizontal. So let's make sprite, well, first off let's make this so that it adds the appropriate number. So like 2x2, however many 2x2s there are, it's going to add 2 more spaces. However many 4x4s there are, it's going to add 4 spaces instead of just 1 space. And let's see. So that'll give us enough horizontal space to work with, at least as far as the while loop is concerned. So if we're drawing the 2x2, and we're going to draw it as that plus, actually we just do minus sprite get number 1x1 solid s. Let's just copy that over and paste it. Hey, whoa! Slow your roll. There you go. Alright. There we go. Okay, so all this good stuff. 40 times 40, 36. And we're going to add another because we're essentially drawing. We're adding an additional one because we're taking up 2 spaces. So this is going to add 2 to draw num. And Yeah, I have no idea if that's gonna actually look right or if it's gonna look like crap. So let's find out. It's the best way to do it is to just give it a go. Just give it a go. Well, it's close to right. It's close to right. It's not right, but it's closer than I actually kind of anticipated, so you know, that's a plus. Well, first off, we need to subtract a little bit more because the 2x2s are 64 by 64, not 32 by 32. So we need to subtract out, let's see, if it starts there, we need to subtract out 32 from its x and y location. So if we subtract 32 from each that will definitely help center them properly so that they're not overlapping the bottom row. Let's see. Man, number crunching. This must be the most boring stream I've done yet. I'm just sitting here shouting, you know, telling out numbers like, oh, +4, no, -13, no, I gotta do +64. Well, no, that's not right. We need to -40 in the z-axis +12 stuff. I don't know. No idea. Alright, let's see. If we go into our double sizers, let's get to our double sizers. What is the last double sized? The last double size looks like that. You know, that's correct. But we're skipping a double size over here. We are skipping one of the double-sized ones. Which makes sense. It's probably drawing it off screen because it's not. Because it's, you know, slightly off. Which is fine. That's fine. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that we're going to have to do this a little differently. I think. Because the Y is different depending on... The Y change is different depending on which sprite is being drawn. That means that we can't just rely on the x-axis, or the number of stuff on the x-axis, to to adjust our y-axis, right? Right. Oh, this is getting really complicated. A lot more complicated than I was hoping it would be. a lot more complicated than I was hoping. Not impossible, just more complicated. Subtract stuff from the Y. Can we do that? I don't. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work right. I don't know if that's adaptable enough. If the algorithm is adaptable enough. Or if I'm going to be like hacking it together the whole way. I don't want to have to hack it together the whole way. I want it to be adaptable. It's the whole point of having a dynamic menu system, is to have it adaptable. And if it's not adapting, then what is the point of all of this? Ugh. Well, hang on. Oops. Cancel. Let's take a look and see what the behavior of it is right now. Once again. So, it is drawing it there. And on the vertical axis, it's going to be drawing it because I like the way this looks. I just need it to work properly. For one of the objects, number, what, 19? Yeah, number 19 is not even being drawn. See? It goes from here and skips over to here. Now, why would that be the case? Hard to say. Who knows? Could be any number of reasons. Alright, yeah, we can make this menu dynamic. It's just going to take a little more effort. Just a little more effort. Oops, wrong thing. Editor bar. And a little more complexity in our Y adjustments. If draw num is less than sprite get, let's see. If it is actually, let's try it. Let's change this. if drawNum yeah, that's what we're gonna do. If drawNum div 20 is less than or equal to this number, the two sprite numbers of the 1x1s, div 20, then draw it on the same y plane as the 1x1s. However, else draw it on your own separate plane as far as the y goes, because you need to subtract it times drawNum div 20 times 40 plus 40. Right? In theory? Theoretically? Theoretically, that's what we want to do. So that way we can push that top layer up by 1 again. Let's see. The x-axis, though, that's a little weird. I don't know why it's skipping one. It is skipping an image, and it shouldn't. And it should not. Okay, so we got you fixed. You're now drawing on the correct Y, which is great. Excellent. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. However, you're skipping one. And I'm pretty relatively certain that you're just drawing it in the wrong spot. And you're not bumping up to the next level. I'm relatively certain. So let's try it. Let's take and shrink that down to, I don't know, 32. No, let's do 16. So you can really condense it down there. And we're going to do the same test that we did earlier, where we check and see if it's drawing it on the edges. And if it is, great. If it's not, well, that's also just fantastic. Yeah, see, look at that. It's not even drawing. That's not even drawing it. Now that's interesting. Why for no? Why for no draw? Why for no draw? Why for no draw? And now that I'm looking at that, I think it's actually skipping a lot of images. It is. It's skipping every other image because drawNum is being added. Yep. That's why. Oh man. Because we're adding one to the draw, it's also skipping it, which that makes sense. That really does. We just have to figure out a good way to circumvent that. Can we do -1? I think that'll make the first one start off incorrectly, though. I think relatively certain that that's what's going to happen. Okay. Let's fix that. Let's run it again. Probably not gonna like what I see. Yeah, I really don't like what I see. I don't like it at all. So it's drawing them, but it's drawing them spaced out properly, but it's also skipping a lot of the images for some reason. Ah, well, yes, actually, I know exactly why it's doing that. Now that I think about it, where is my... Right here. That needs to be times 2. Okay. So now it's going to at least draw them all, but I don't think it's going to draw them all properly. Oh, I do not have enough coffee for these numbers. These numbers are killing me. I am dying. I am the dead. Huh. Wow. That's different. That is different. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's drawing them all properly. Well, I mean, it's at least, I should say that it looks like it's drawing them, but it's not drawing them in the correct location. It is not. Actually, let's get rid of that -1. And what we're gonna see, I believe, is a offset, like what's the word I'm looking for? An odds and evens type of situation, and that's just not gonna fly with me. I mean, I guess that's okay. That actually kind of looks neat how it syncs itself up like that. But this is actually overlapping this Like, it doesn't look like it, but it is. I can already see that. I can already see that overlap. I can already see it. That's overlapping that, which is just not gonna fly. Close. God, what a headache. Oh my gosh. This nice, fancy, dynamic menu system is just kicking my butt. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? How are we going to handle this? Well, the X is interesting. I think that's flawed. Looking at that. The X shouldn't change, only the Y. Okay, so that's one flaw. That will help sync the images up properly. But I'm sure it's going to cause other problems. Yeah, see, now we got stuff pushed out on the edge. Right, okay, so that's synced. These should be offset. They should be over by 1. So they should be over by 1. But they're not. They are absolutely not. And is there a reason for that? You know, I think I see why. Because it's pushing it as an off because DrawNum is desynchronizing the, making it nice and odd between odds and evens. That's why we're starting to see some weird stuff. The 2x2, at least initially, if DrawNum, let's see, yeah. This is going to be weird. The y-axis doesn't matter, but this is going to be weird. Div 2 times 2. Huh. Right. Okay. That will make it nice and even again. Huh. Huh. Ugh. Yeah, see, that synced it up there, but it desynced it on the bottom row. So the bottom row definitely needs to be okay, so alright, instead of div 2, we're going to make this DrawNum divided by 2. I'm going to make this the ceiling of DrawNum divided by 2. Actually, that bottom one could stay the same. Yeah, the bottom one can stay the same, because that will sync it back up to evens. The brain hurt. Ow. Well, you know, that is close. losing it here. Too many numbers. Too many numbers. Ah. No. No, cancel. Level editor. Go in here. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Everything is wrong and everything is terrible forever. Crap. Gotta think of a better way to do this. Alright, let's do this. Draw. Let's make it a... Draw num 2. Draw num 2 is going to be for the actual sub-image, right? Yeah. Let's toss it there. So that would be what? Let's see if it was 2, and it's subtracted to 1. Then bring it up to 2, and then 3. Let's bring it down to 2. 3, 4, 3. Alright, let's... Let's see what that does. I'm not convinced that's gonna work, but my brain is starting to give out on me here. Yeah, that totally did not work at all. At all. It syncs things up really nicely. But it's still drawing every other number. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try that. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna try that. See what happens. This is my brain. This is my brain on math. Blech. Well, that definitely fixed that problem. So that's good. Not convinced it fixed any of the other problems, but it fixed that problem. So, do we go from shadow bush to square bush. Let's see if we do. Go in reverse here. Shadow bush to square bush. Sure enough. Look at that. It's drawing them all properly. And that's good. That's super good. Super good. I mean, I know that sounded sarcastic, but I think this is my brain on tiredness talking, because that is actually really good. That is a very good thing. Because, I mean, look at this. This is perfect. It syncs everything up nicely. The only problem is the vertical axis, which we can fix. We can fix that. The vertical axis, let's see. Times it by 80 instead of by 40. And that's going to fix our little problem. On the vertical axis. Oh my gosh, I can't even brain anymore. My brain is so fried. It's terrible. Oh, no, I mean, yes, but no. That's, son of a, look at that. Look, now there's this extra gap. And, I mean, it's right, but it's spacing them properly, but there's this extra gap. It skipped a row, and I don't want it to skip a row. I think that's not what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to not skip a row. Why is it skipping a row? Completely skipped a row. Can I just, like, subtract one from that? Will that work? Will that satisfy the math demons that are plaguing me? Should. In theory. Theory doesn't mean practice, though. Theory does not mean practice. Okay. So now we're drawing everything. And it's spaced properly. It looks great. It really, honestly does. Now we need to fix the black border so that it will draw the black border a little bit better. A little bit more accurately. Yeah. What's the best way to draw the black border a little more accurately? Good question, Barrick. Fantastic question. Why didn't I ask that question? Oh, I just did. Alright, so it has to draw the black border based on whether or not the draw num is equal to that. Okay. I can work with that. If big if, but if draw rect is greater than or equal to these two combined, those two sprites combined, then we need, no, if it is less than, not greater than equal, it's less than that, draw those. Draw, yeah, well, I guess I just draw set color, I can separate that out. I don't need to set that every time. Do I? No, I don't. I do not. Alright. And if it is, well, else, and that's going to be all fine and good until I add the next layer of stuff, and then I'm going to have to modify it a little bit from there, but you know what, that's cool. I'm not sure I have the brain to do that today, to add in that, the 4x4s. I got the 2x2s, and I'm gonna get them working, but then I'm going to call it done, and deal with the rest of that later, adding in the 4x4s later, because my brain is like I said, it's going to mush real quickly here. So, y minus 40 minus draw rect times 40. Bum bum balloon bam. It should actually be y minus 80, right? Yeah. 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 In theory, yeah. Let's see what the actual results in. Did we get ourselves a nice little buffer? Because that would just be fantastic. That would be fantastic if we got a nice little buffer there. Oh, we didn't. Of course not. Why would we? Why would it work? It's not like you are doing anything else properly. So why would it work? It wouldn't work. Because, you know, it's silly to think it would work. Well, let's add another 80 in there. In theory, that should work. If it is less than that plus that, great. If it is greater than that plus that, that's also cool. Oh yeah, I probably also need to draw plus to that rect. Yeah. Let's see. Yep, that's not doing it either, and I know why now that I think about it. Now that I think of it. And the reason is actually relatively simple. The reason is, first we're going to shrink that down a bit. Add an additional thing in here that we are also then adding one. And you know, it's not really draw total divided by 20, is it? No. I'm just gonna make it draw total. Yeah, draw rect, draw total. You know, when you get there, great. Okay. It's not gonna work, is it? Nope, it filled in the whole screen with blackness. That's great. Yeah, that's super duper. That's super great. Fill in the whole screen with blackness. Yep. Uh-huh. You know, let's get rid of the 4x4s for now, because they're not even in there, and yet they're getting brought into the calculation. It's throwing things off. It's drawing space for the 4x4s, and it shouldn't be drawing that space yet. So. Oh, it's still doing it. Isn't that great? I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's just not working, and it looks great. It just looks so great. I'm so happy for it. Oh, crap. I think I know why, because let's see. Let's toss that in there. It's just drawing too many of them, which is fine. It shouldn't be drawing that many. It should be drawing fewer than that. But it's probably now drawing too many fewer than that. Yep. Now it's a little too fewer, because the draw total divided by 20 is not exactly accurate. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I think my mind is mush. I think it is a gooey pile of Play-Doh. And I'm sure that this is one of those situations where as soon as I take a break and as soon as I stop streaming and walk away from this, I'm gonna go sit down, have some food or something, and then boom, the solution will pop into my head like it always seems to do. But that is certainly not the case for right now. Right now, it's like I'm staring at the screen going, huh? What's going on? I don't know. The numbers, they're not working, and I don't understand why. Well, I think that that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to call this stream done. Because my mind is just like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at numbers anymore. No, sorry, we're not going to do it. I look at the number and it's like, wow. I didn't know that a 4 had 4 angles in it. That's cool. That's what my brain's doing right now. It's like, it's completely just ignoring the fact that I'm telling it that we need to figure this out. It's just like, yeah, cool, man. Just hang on. Look at that 4. Isn't that cool? And I'm like, no. I mean, yes, but no. I'm busy with, we got other stuff we have to be doing. And my brain's just like, no, man, it's all good. It's all good. So I think that, yeah, that's gonna call it a day for today. And this is, like I said, this is probably one of the most boring streams that I've done for this so far, just because I'm spouting random numbers and trying to fix numbers, and numbers are going left and right, and everything is going wrong, but it's actually starting to come together, which is nice. And so I'll probably work on, I'm fully intending to work on this off camera and get all those the last little bit of numbers worked out, and that fully functional, so that we can work on some different stuff next week that's hopefully not nearly as boring as this is. So thank you all again for watching. I very much appreciate it. If any of you have actually made it this far, that is. And I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Counting 15 seconds. Why 15 seconds? Because I think that's about how long the stream broadcasts for. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop streaming. And then, unlike last